It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good Wednesday to y'all. Whew, the way I ran to this mic. Good morning, good morning. So much to get to. Trigger warning, content warning. We're going to be talking about white supremacist terror in Charleston. We're going to talk about all these, what do you call it when you, when there's before an earthquake? Good morning, Justin. Before an earthquake, like there's tremors, right? So we're gonna start identifying some tremors because this city loves to play in our faces and tell us, "Good morning, B-Man." This city loves to play in our faces and tell us that we're Charleston strong, all that bullshit ass hashtag, and they like to tell you about some lone wolves and that this is not Charleston. The legacy of hate, white supremacist terror specifically, is pervasive in Charleston. It's literally embedded into tourism. They literally sell it. They literally sell plantations where torture, rape, separations of families, forced labor, all of that took place on those terrorist plantations that now serve as wedding venues. You got hotels called vendus, which is another word for auctions, the kind of auctions that took place in trafficking African bodies for sex trafficking purposes and also for labor purposes. This city sells hate. It's embedded in the culture. So today, good morning, Jazz on Facebook. Good morning, Anna Marks on Facebook. Good morning, Meg. So this city likes to lone wolf us, and we're going to be talking about white supremacist terror, and I'm gonna do something. Look, I ain't no journalist. At the most, I'm a citizen journalist. All right. So there's things about speculating recklessly and things like that. There are journalistic tenets that I don't necessarily follow. I'm not telling y'all that. Me making this comparison between Dylan Roof and the faction of hate groups that are very active here in Charleston. I'm trying not to be careless with it. I'm trying to show you the patterns. But I will say this: if you think that these current hate groups that keep remixing themselves, that keep turning themselves into another types of iterations and all that, if you think that they did not look at Dylan Roof and what he did to try to bring about a race war, if you think that they didn't study this man, study his manifesto, study what he did right in their eyes and what he did wrong in their eyes, I'm not characterizing, Dylan Roof favorably, so don't chill out. But if you think that what Dylan Roof did not inspire those running around here outfitting their old bullshit ass Kia Souls in hate language, and I know I might be poking the bear with this, but I got a text message last night that actually crystallized what I'm about to talk to. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Sean on Facebook. Good morning, fam. But yeah, so I want to be careful in terms of how I draw the connection between Dylan Roof and these hate groups, but I want you to know that they study each other. There are no lone wolves. That's a myth. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that, we got the one cancer, and so now you don't have to worry about pervasive culture of white supremacist terror in Charleston. That's not the truth. And I'm going to try to make an attempt to show you what I mean. And y'all know I don't lean into my own understanding. We're going to be referencing one of my favorite books. Put down white fragility, put down all that BS, put down anything that's about, put down the rich Jennifer Berry Hall's book about Emmanuel, put that down, put that, all that flowery language and depictions of what happened, and pick up a copy of the Charleston syllabus, all right? Co-edited by 3 amazing Black scholars. This was one of my book club selections back when I was doing book clubs, but this is what you need to pick up to understand hate in Charleston. Pick up the Charleston syllabus, and we're gonna talk about. We're gonna pull from a certain part in this book, and I believe it's like the prologue. I read a little bit of it I read a little bit of it on Instagram a ways back, but yeah, we're gonna unfortunately, and again, trigger warning, content warning. We're gonna actually read something that Dylan Roof wrote in his manifesto, and that's what I'm trying to help you understand and just disprove that whole lone wolf theory. That's to get you to become complacent. It's to be and this whole because I have a lot of white followers who think that if you ignore white supremacists, if you ignore white supremacy, good morning Whiskey Neat on Twitch, if you ignore these things, then they go away. No. So hateful people don't die off. Like, it's not a like all that, oh, we just wait for that group to die off, the group from the 60s to die. No. White supremacy doesn't die off, right? There's no passive approach in dismantling white supremacy. There's no passive approach you can take that would actively dismantle white supremacy. So for those who are struggling with, well, just don't talk about them. Don't give them any light. There are times I pick and choose my spots. I don't talk about KKK Corey Whittington Allen. I don't talk about Bear Spray Tyler Bessinger. I don't talk about these two insurrectionists who filmed themselves at the Capitol and faced no repercussions. I don't talk about them willingly. I don't talk about them often. But recent behavior and what I'm noticing comes straight from the Dylan Roof manifesto, and we're gonna get into it. Let me put it over here. Other than that, I feel great. Payday for me today. Got up early, got me a little triple shot, something in my guts. Yeah, feeling good. So let me go ahead and switch up. All right, let me go ahead and switch up. One thing I want to start off with is calls to action. I think I'm going to replace the whole weather thing with calls to action or things I really need y'all to activate on or spread the word about. So one thing I need y'all to do is to head to Friends of Gadsden Creek on Instagram. If not there, head to friendsofgadsdencreek.org. No, we're not. We're not an ORG. We are not ORG. Friends of Gad, I'm thinking of my job. Go to the link in the bio. You see it right here, y'all. Go to the link in the bio on Instagram, or just go to friendsofgadsdencreek.com. We are not an ORG. And there's a whole discussion about that that I'd love to have. So yeah, go to friendsofgadsdencreek.com if you're not on Instagram. You're watching me, so hopefully you are on social media. And check out this latest post. It includes a call to action, right? So many of you, including myself, many of my followers have received the notification from DHEC. DHEC has approved this permit to move forward with the West Edge project, with the West Edge filling of Gadsden Creek. And this is. Let me just let y'all know this. If you think that there were more people in favor of filling the creek than people who were opposed to it, you're sorely mistaken. Just like following the 1938 tornadoes that ripped through Gadsden Green, the predominantly black, upwardly mobile community that is now housing projects. What they did then, there was a large outcry from the people who lived there saying, hey, save this place. We want to save, we want to rebuild. We want to remain homeowners. We want to remain landowners. There was a big concerted effort from that population. We have it documented. If you go to the friendsofgadsdencreek.com website, you'll see what we've gotten from the archives that we scanned and made available for you. So you've seen a groundswell of support and people advocating for themselves to try to ward off that landfill projects and other things, slum clearance and all the other racist environmentally racist policies. And we see it again happening now in 2021. There has been way more opposition from the general public than there has been, and there has been people championing this move. And so it's time for us to continue to apply pressure. It's time for us to be activated. So go to Friends of Gadsden Creek on Instagram. Check out the slides. You remember we also covered Ameren and her fellow comrades from the Pratt Institute did this amazing presentation, right? And so we have a blog post now that distills a lot of the scholarship from Ameren and other amazing scholars about the Gadsden Creek. Is a great blog post. Use that to educate yourselves, of course, but also use that to inform others. If you don't know how to talk about the creek, if you don't know how to talk about the efforts that we've launched, just take a look at our Instagram feed. We give it to you. Make it really easy for you. We have a lot of visual aids so you can share that, so you can learn, and we put them in chunks. Shout out to Seb. Shout out to Mary, Ameren, Cyrus, Brian, Taylor, and a whole host of others who have just been really on it when it comes to creating assets like this that are shareable, that are easy to read, and impactful. So go and take care of that, right? So that'll be your call to action today. All right. So, okay. Thank you. Who's this? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome to the family. Hey, Rajon, how you doing? All right. So wanted to knock that out. Calls to action. We're going to replace weather with calls to action. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try it on for size, but I definitely have to do more to just I have to do more to get y'all to know what to do and how to activate folks. All right, so let's hop into the news. One thing I've stepped away from, especially yesterday, I stepped away from the news and the headlines because I wanted to talk about the Brett Bursey issue. Shout out to all y'all who gave me great feedback after and during. I was overwhelmed in the chat. It was a lot of great conversation. I couldn't get to everyone's input, but thank you so much. Yesterday was really important for me, and we're going to continue on advocating. We're going to continue on advocating for Black women today, because just like with the Brett Bursey situation, it's important for us to lift up Black women. It's important for us to lift up, like, to show you what's really going on out here. Hold on one second. Let me switch real quick. Let me see something. All right, I'm trying to check something out. Some things are not moving, so I'm trying to figure out. I wonder what's going on. But hopefully everything's straight. Yeah. So who's this in the chat section? Is that a GTA V Maps? I don't know what that means. Ask that question again. What's GTA mean? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that. All right. So Post and Courier, they're going to double down on their climate change coverage, especially after being a finalist for Pulitzer Prize for their coverage of the climate change or the flooding here. Yeah, they definitely tell you that Charleston is wet. I wish they would do some investigative reporting on how it got like this. But they definitely love to document what's going on, and they get a lot of awards for documenting what's going on. Also, this is top of mind. I'm going to get into this with the, we're going to do a news rundown. We're going to get back into some video news coverage. But the DJJ situation is getting very, very real. It's been real for a long time. But now that you got lawmakers involved, it's getting more attention. Shout out to all those who are on the front lines advocating for the actual juvenile population, and not just in facilities in like Richland County, other places. But shout out to like Zakia. Shout out to yeah, I thought so too. Good morning, Nicole. Right? On Twitch, I see you. But yeah, shout out to all the people who are on the ground fighting for juvenile justice, those who are in the system, those who make contact. Zakia Esper in the Midlands. She's the executive director of Sowing Seeds in the Midlands. You know what, y'all? If y'all could do this for me. If somebody could do this for me. So this is Zakia's nonprofit. I don't know why it says I'm not following, because I just swear I was following Sowing Seeds. This is Zakia Esper's her nonprofit. She does amazing work. Okay, so she does amazing work trying to disrupt the school to prison pipeline, right? The criminalization of children and youth, excessive and exclusionary school discipline. Yeah, right. All this stuff. So check out Zakia's check out her Instagram, check out her organization. And if y'all could donate, see, she has her donation information right here. If y'all can donate to Seeds in the Midlands, Sowing Seeds in the Midlands, if y'all could donate, like, just whatever you got, let's do that. Please, let's do that, because there are people who've been, and she's in community, Zakia's in community with some amazing people, and she does great work. And she's one of those nonprofits. She's one of those like unsung heroes doing a lot of great things, but needs the type of support that's critically important. And she's learned so much since the pandemic about how to address this issue, how to disrupt the school to prison pipeline, how we can leverage some of these distance tools to keep kids out of jail, keep them out of the system. So let's make sure you support Sowing Seeds in the Midlands. Just for disclosure too, I work for Cypress Fund. We're a social justice fund. We fund movement work on the ground in North and South Carolina. And we do fund sowing seeds in the Midlands. Just as a point of disclosure, that I have a professional connection with Zakia. But before I was Cypress Gang, I was a stan over here. I was a Zakia stan. So let's go ahead and support sowing seeds in the Midlands if you get a chance. Okay. Please support a black woman doing her thing. So the DJJ story, we're going to get into that. The South Carolina Senate votes no confidence in embattled DJJ director. We're going to get into that. Now this story, did y'all see this last night? Did y'all see this? I was like, wow. Let's hop into it. Let's see if the YouTube guys is going to be good to me. And we're going to get back to the what I teased out in terms of dealing with. We're going to get there. Let's just get through the news real quick. And then we're going to come back to the roof-inspired white supremacist groups who are running around Charleston. Good morning. Mr. Abe Jenkins. You said, what's up? Good morning. OG. Check in. Good morning. So let's hit up this story real quick, and we're going to get into DJJ. But let's just go through the headlines. It's just a lot.
New tonight, we've learned that Katie Arrington, who ran an unsuccessful bid for Congress, is being accused of disclosing classified information without permission. Arrington has held the title of Chief Information Security Officer for the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition at the Pentagon. She has been overseeing the Pentagon's new cybersecurity initiative for defense contractors and was placed on leave back on May 11th. Her attorney confirms tonight that she is on administrative leave pending the resolution of the allegations. However, her security clearance has not been revoked. Now, in a statement, her attorney says, in part, this is 6 weeks after her suspension, which means the NSA is withholding information, and the question is why. They added that the conduct of the NSA is denying Ms. Arrington her due process and is harming the national security of the United States.
I don't know about all that.
She served 2 terms in the State House and then ran for Congress in 20.
I'm starting to think that congressional seat is cursed. I'm starting to think that congressional seat is cursed because, like, I don't know. I thought that was like, oh, word? Well, a word? Okay. All right, let's hit this one real quick, DJJ.
New tonight at 11, the state Senate voting. They don't have confidence in DJJ Director Freddie Pugh. Lawmakers have held hearings on the department this year after an audit found an uptick in violence and problems getting medical care to youth, along with other issues. Governor McMaster selected Pugh to run the agency. He's the only person who can fire him. The governor's office says Pugh is working on turning the agency around.
Yeah, tracking that story for real. I want to know if what the governor will do in that case. Here we go. You know what? Let's so just content warning. We're gonna play an update about the Jamal Sutherland case we learned of yesterday. Shout out to the organizers in the Justice for All Coalition who put us all on, but I saw that Scarlett Wilson is doing Scarlett Wilson type things. She is incompetent. She is incapable. I want to say this though. This is kind of like a sign that the pressure that groups that I was affiliated with, it's like, to me, it's an indication that thoughtful protest, thoughtful organizing, comprehensive planning, relying on scholarship, relying on sound thought leadership, it works. Jamal Sutherland, he lost his life at the hands of the police in January, over 6 months ago. And we still don't have clarity on a whole host of things, but more importantly, not more important because we do need more clarity, but just as important, we don't have lawmakers who are demonstrating a will to hold those who killed Jamal accountable, and the system that failed Jamal. We're not seeing folks being held accountable. But I will say that, let's just watch this real quick.
Whether to charge deputies involved in a Charleston.
I'm gonna wind it.
The Ninth Circuit solicitor delaying the decision on whether to charge deputies involved in a Charleston County inmate's death.
Good morning, Meek,
the
on
inmate,
Facebook.
Jamal Sutherland, died while in custody at the Alcannon Detention Center in January.
News 2's Kate Prestak spoke with Jamal Sutherland's mother, Amy Sutherland, today. Very emotional response to the solicitor's decision.
I think the solicitor should have been finished by now.
That's right.
Amy Sutherland says the solicitor has had more than enough time to decide whether to charge the officers who she says took her son's life.
That's right.
I was a 5th grader. I could have figured it out. Ain't nothing special. What special plans you need?
The Ninth Circuit solicitor says the reason for the delay is due to the need for additional testing and newly obtained evidence.
I just think that something's not right about the whole situation. I think that in 7 months,
Come on.
anybody
Come on.
who wants to make that decision
Come on.
makes it.
Sutherland says with all the time that's passed, she feels as though Jamal's death investigation
She
is
is,
being
Nicole.
stalled.
I think the entire ordeal that my son suffered, I think it was a joke to some people. They ain't laughing, but it's a joke. Look at them waiting.
Sutherland calling her son's death a quote execution.
It looked like the old days, y'all. I'm serious. It looked like something you do in the old days and the fact
That real quick timeout. That gave me chills just now. I'm not even joking. Like that gave me goosebumps. It's like the old days. When I tell you, I oftentimes reference that conversations with my parents. My parents are both, one is a septuagenarian, one is an octogenarian. And I don't know, I'm just being silly. But I'm not, this is not a silly situation, but my parents' age, to me it's such a treasure in that they have this perspective. They're both from the rural South. My mother's from North Carolina. She's a Jim Crow refugee. My dad is from Wadmalaw Island. He's a Jim Crow refugee. They both left the South to advance their careers and to be able to provide for their families better. They both headed up north. My mom ended up in the Bronx at one point and then in New Jersey. My dad ended up in New Jersey with the help of his sisters who were also Jim Crow refugees, my late aunt Vicky being the main sister to help him out. And I'm bringing all that up is because, when I sit with them, I almost take for granted the things that they've heard, the things that they've lived through. And they almost feel like it's not common, but I guess because they lived through it and they were born into it, some of the things that they witnessed, some of the things that their family members experienced, and that they experienced too as a family, as a collective, really feel like my dad remarks about it all the time. It feels like the old days where you could just kill a black person and no one faces consequences. All right. And my dad references that a lot. My dad being the older out of the two, he definitely has had encounters with stories from, things that have occurred here in South Carolina. It's really sad. So when this black woman says, the black woman who's much younger than my parents, says it's like the old times, like the old days, I want us to listen. And I know I'm going to be a redundant type of broken record. Even that was redundant. I'm going to be a broken record about how we need to hold space for the trauma that these families sustain. So not just the trauma that comes with losing a family member like this, losing a family member because that family member was experiencing a health crisis and was never given the proper medical attention. So not only did you lose a family member in this brutal and abrupt way, now you have to deal with this delayed justice, which feels agonizing. And as Amy has alluded to, it feels like people aren't taking her and her family and their pain seriously. And I would offer to say I hear that and I see that, and I would also arrive at that conclusion if perhaps I was in her shoes, right? So that's real. Mr. Abe Jenkins, you said the solicitor and the coroner must be held accountable for this travesty. Absolutely. Please listen to the OG. Right. And then Meek McPherson, you says, how do you leak information and keep your clear? Oh, you talking about Katie Arrington? How do you leak information, keep your clearance? That's a good question for Katie Arrington. Yes, absolutely. Over here in the chat, let me see. Nicole, you're like, Miss Amy is definitely a bad woman. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. She said something right there. Absolutely. I had to pause it there, y'all.
back in the woods. but it was right here in the Charleston County
Let me
jail,
rewind that. Did you hear what
in the back of the woods.
Let me rewind it.
It looked like the old days, y'all. I'm serious. It looked like something you do in the old days in the back of the woods. But it was right here in the Charleston County jail that was done.
Sutherland hoped her son's death would be the last, but with the charges still not filed, she's growing weary.
I can't breathe. Is that a common word that's going to be used around the black community now? I think this has got to stop. And if nobody's charged, it's never going to stop.
That's powerful, y'all. That's powerful. Ooh, okay. I'm not gonna, in the interest of time, I want to dedicate as much time as possible. Okay, the OG Mr. Abe Jenkins, you say on Facebook. Let me lift it up. It says, doesn't it seem like these elected officials are working together to find a loophole? Absolutely. They're really working hard to give themselves a lot of time. And I'm going to continue to say that from the beginning, we saw that a stall tactic being employed in an effort to give these folks some additional time to either mount to first of all, I think there's a lot of acts of self-preservation, or acts in the interest of self-preservation. I think this is a very political case. It's more than political. This is about flesh and bone and someone's child, but it is a political case. It has political implications, and I think Scarlett has proven that she's not equipped. She's ill-equipped. And I want to say this. I think that the lawmakers 100% underestimated this family. I think a lot of people who suffer from mental illness, who are placed in similar positions like Jamal Sutherland, and those who have died in jail custody. We know that they don't report the deaths, y'all, but Jamal Sutherland's family was so much more involved. Not much more. I don't want to compare it, because other families were involved as well. Other families who faced similar loss, well, I'm sure were engaged. But Jamal Sutherland's family was very engaged in his care, and I think this was the timing of all of what's going on. The George Floyd protest that came from last summer, then the Chauvin trial that was happening around shortly before we saw the tape being released, and also this family is equipped to really meet this moment. And I think this is like a perfect storm of events that are coming together, that is putting Scarlett in a very tough situation. Good morning, Kia. Yeah, it definitely, I agree with Mr. Abe Jenkins that this feels like a stall tactic designed to give people time. Jessica, you just dropped in the Twitch chat. Always working together to obfuscate. All right. Not surprised lawmakers want to suppress history being taught in schools. People will recognize it. Exactly that. So the pushback currently on critical race theory, which is not taught in K through 12. Critical race theory is not taught in public schools, but whatever. But they are trying to push back on the telling of history that shows a thing to be a thing. And if you erase history, then when it rears its head in contemporary times, in modern times, in real time, you won't be able to recognize. That's why you have people saying, well, this is not us, this is not Charleston. You're either saying that because you're being willfully ignorant, or because you have not been taught your history, which is probably both things are happening in some instance. People will recognize it if they did teach the history. Absolutely. This has always happened. Yep. And Justin, you're responding to Jessica's comment on Twitch. The more history I read, the clearer it becomes. Keep reading, because something I've been saying a lot lately, which I don't say nonchalantly. The one thing I keep saying is like, Jim Crow and slavery were way worse than what we think. Jim Crow and slavery were way worse than what we think. Way worse. And we just don't know all of the incidents. And the more I get into the archives, the more I read like a digitized historical newspaper, the clearer it becomes that, wow, this was way worse. And in a city like Charleston that really puts this coating of politeness and pleasantness around all these hideous these hideous pieces of the past, and I'm not saying they should be erased. I'm saying that they should not be glorified or commodified and used for tourism. Though their approach to it helps with that whitewashing, right? All right. I wanted to, again, in the interest of time, what I want to do is I want to get to. We're not going to play. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to play this. It's just so serendipitous. So this came on last night. This segment on PBS PBS NewsHour came on last night, and it's titled "For Black Women in Government: Highlighting Threats and Abuse Can Make It Worse." So Black women and women of color that are elected into office are facing more backlash, more racialized terroristic threats. Now they're facing a lot of this now, and this is what today's live stream is going to be dedicated to. I want to lift up and support Erica Coakley specifically. Y'all know I don't like playing or showing or talking about this felon right here, this person who breaks into people's cars and steals from people and feeds his addiction. And I'm not making fun of people who suffer from addiction, but who feeds his addiction by stealing from other people. And now he is the face of so-called leadership. He's even found a way to these parent groups in Mount Pleasant. These Mount Pleasant parents, I guess, don't have any problem with a felon who also participated in the insurrection and who also brought the Proud Boys here. Now this is old video right here. This is old video from around December when the Proud Boys came, from December when the Proud Boys came to the city of Charleston. They were given permission from the city to have a white supremacist rally on the city hall steps. They were allowed to. Remember, our sitting city councilman, Harry Griffin, was organized behind the scene to be a featured speaker. He agreed to be a featured speaker in this event. Then he realized the political implications and pulled out at the last minute, using his Meemaw as a human shield and an alibi to prove that he wasn't at the rally, but he had every intention at being at the rally, so much so that they had put his face on the flyer as a featured speaker. Not only that, Harry Griffin has spoken at events hosted by this person on my screen right here, who is a Proud Boy, who is often organizing with the Proud Boys, a hate group. And this is proof of him with the Proud Boys. He brought them there. They throw up the white power sign in this video from December. I just want to give a very clear and accurate picture as to who Corey Allen is. I do expect backlash. I'm here for it. And I'm going to get into, again, why this is not lone wolf. Why, and I'm also going to say this again. I know some of the brothers might think I'm coming at them hard. Well, that's okay, because I know a lot of y'all love one another. You know, y'all respond to strength from men. It's okay to respond to it's okay to get some strength from a woman, because I love my brothers. But I'm talking specifically to the brothers who have been selling out Erica Coakley. I'm not talking about all black men. But this is a private conversation. I know Courtney mentioned that yesterday. Like, there's certain things I'm not going to say in mixed company, but I will say to the brothers who have publicly aligned themselves with the Proud Boys, who have publicly shown up at events where Proud Boys were present and intimidating citizens of Charleston, to all of the black conservatives, the MAGA conservatives who actively work with Corey Allen, who actively work with Tyler Bessinger to demonize black women in office. I want to say shame on you. You are literally trying to get this woman killed. If you are still organizing with, and that includes Maurice Washington, shame on you for cavorting with a criminal and terroristic element. Shame on you, Maurice, for taking pictures with terrorists and insurrectionists. Shame on you for writing that op-ed in defense of a Proud Boy sympathizer in Harry Griffin. Shame on you. To all of the black male conservatives who think this is about right-wing politics, who act like it's about right-wing politics, but also wink and nod and sometimes outwardly publicly embrace white supremacist terroristic group leadership, shame on you. You are actively trying to get these people killed. You are working to help people and bring violence and visit violence upon people like Erica Coakley. Shame on you. I have no patience for people who work with Corey. I have no patience for people, black men, caught on film, you know who you are, saying that the Proud Boys are patriots. Saying that the Proud Boys are patriots. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because if anything happens to this young lady, if anything happens to her from one of these Dylan Roof impersonators, anything happens to her, you are part of the problem. And I'm going to leave that there. Now we're going to focus right back on these white supremacists. But I had to make that, I would be remiss if I didn't say that on camera. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that on camera. You hear me? Right? So keep playing footsie with this group and acting like, oh, they just the flaggers on the battery. Remember, those flaggers on the battery are armed. Remember, those flaggers on the battery call in the Lightfoot militia when they need backup. Remember, those flaggers on the battery have stickers on their pickup truck that say 3%ers and other hate groups. Okay? Remember, the flaggers on the battery, they might seem non-threatening to you and out of shape and all that. But when they get in groups and when they call in their reinforcements, and when they call in the Proud Boys to come and terrorize your pub or your diner or your business, they ain't no joke then. They're not, these are not just losers. These are bumbling, yes. Idiotic, yes. Half-wits, yes. But when you put enough half-wits together, there's enough brain activity there to cause real significant danger. So when it comes to brain capacity, they ain't got that much of that. But one thing they know violence. One thing they really specialize in is violence. And I need y'all to start recognizing representational violence, like how violence manifests outside of physical force. I need y'all to start recognizing how violence manifests in other ways. So when you see it, you stop poo-pooing it and you start reporting it. You start reporting it. And you start treating it as those tremors you feel. Like I said in the beginning of this live stream, those tremors you get before an earthquake happens. Oh, the tremors are being felt right now. And I'm not trying to stoke fear. I'm going to show you what's been happening recently, and I'm going to tie it back to what we saw Corey take part in back in December. I see you going off Twitch chat. Yeah. Somebody need to have Erica's back. Shout out to Joy Brown. We have Erica's back. And that's the thing. We have to talk about it publicly, y'all, because if we don't talk about it publicly, y'all gonna turn around. I'm saying y'all, you know what I'm talking about, mainstream media. Oh, we didn't see it happening. Oh, we didn't know that this came out of the blue. Oh, this is the isolated incident. It's not. Ain't no lone wolves. These aren't isolated incidences. And these are not one-offs. It's a steady drip of white supremacy, and it will have an impact. It will have an impact on us. And they're waiting. Y'all, they've been wanting a race war for so long. They said it. They say it out their mouths that they want a race war. They've said it. I don't know how some people can just like sleep without like, I just don't know. So let's play this video from back in December. This is from my Instagram stories archive. I got to go get the original video that's all intact, but we're going to try to play it in pieces and skip forward. So this is from December. This is Corey Allen, y'all.
And the same thing I've been telling you for a long time.
You hear them chanting, "Proud Boys, Proud Boys." This is in the Low Country. They went to Somerville to terrorize this restaurant. Next video.
We tried burying our heads in the sands.
Right? So that's Corey saying he tried burying their heads in the sand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the...
Let me go back to my videos. Hold up. Let's see it right here. So they were shouting. Let me see. They were chanting. Here's the video we need to look at.
And look, it's been helping.
So there you go. I'm gonna wind that a little bit. There you go. This is the Proud Boy. This is the Proud Boys coming to Charleston. This is the white power sign. This is the white power sign that they're throwing up right here. Okay. So this is who Charleston gave a permit to, this group, the city of Charleston.
Boy, take this country back.
Remember, the CPD tackled a young boy for selling palmetto roses, but we let a hate group come and hold court.
We're taking the country back, and that's the key.
Taking the country back, and that's the key.
We have tried so many things. We've tried ignoring it. And look, it's been helping.
Okay, so that's Corey, right? So recently, Corey and his partner Tyler, this came a couple days ago. So basically, they posted this around the time that I saw them. I was over at the I was at the Sonic over on San Rittenberg next to King Claw Juicy Seafood. I'm up here. I'm ordering my my cherry limeade at Sonic, right? And I come out the drive-thru and I'm like, what is this Kia Soul? What is this Kia Soul? Like, well, all these flags and stuff on there. I almost thought it was like a parade. I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's a parade. Then I look real quick and I see the R word on the back of the car. I see F the Democrats. I see F Biden. And that don't trigger me, right? I just think it's outlandish. I thought it was a lot. I'm like, you're doing the most. You're doing the absolute most, right? Right? So like, I was like, okay, this Kia Soul looks, I'm like, oh shit. That's Tyler Bear Spray Bessinger. That's the insurrectionist and white supremacist who was sued for victimizing a young black child. He was sued, right? And he was he participated in insurrection. He's a terrorist. He got dunked on by Moya before Moya died. Shout out, rest in peace, Moya. Got dunked on by Moya. I'm like, oh, that's Tyler. And he's affixing this big obnoxious flag in the parking lot of King Claw Juicy Seafood and Bar. He's putting this flag on his Kia Soul. They love a crossover like SUV. They love it. Like when Corey was breaking and entering, they found all the stolen electronics from the people that cars he's broken into outside the Tinker 2 outlets. They found all the stolen electronics and hypodermic needles. They found it in Corey's Xterra, right? The two-tone Xterra, like had like a door from like a salvage yard. It was real like a shitty SUV looking situation. They kind of like these kind of SUVs, it sounds like. But anyway, so you'll see this black Kia Soul riding around Charleston. Y'all has all this obnoxious stuff on it. It's not triggering. It looks like a clown car. And so they ride around trying to antagonize people. They don't tell you that. So look at this right here. If you can read it. It says, attacked once again downtown. Show us proof that you were attacked. Attacked once again downtown, of course. And again, they go to places where they said that they usually said that they told me that they go to liberal bastions, so go where liberals are. That don't even make no sense. Downtown Charleston is made up of almost all tourists from all over. So I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, it could be a mix of people from across the world, literally across the world. But anyway, they go downtown. And they said they were attacked. Now, I don't know if y'all can make it out. They blurred out the faces because Tyler doesn't want to get sued again. But if you close up, if you get a close up of the picture that they posted, you'll see palmetto roses in the hands of this. So I'm assuming this is a juvenile. So they're saying they were attacked, but their car, and at least they were honest in saying that their car is outfitted in anti-democratic party bumper stickers, and it's not an anti-Biden flag. The flag says "fuck Biden," and they have the F-bomb all around the car. So what they don't also tell you is that they have the R word on the car, like saying that they're not the R word. Right. You also have they have a sound system. So when I saw them coming out of Sonic, I went over and I flipped them off. I flipped them off. So they know that I'm not scared of you. And I was laughing because it's a clown car. So I flipped them off, and then I'm glad I did that because then they wanted to demonstrate their little toy, which is a sound system. So they called me a triggered bitch. over the sound system, right? They called me a triggered bitch over the sound system. I'm like, good, I'm glad. Then they started to like not follow me, but as I exit, as I exit, they exited. And I went into one direction and they followed. So I saw them in there trying to stay back, right? Because I'm sure they wanted to capture my license plate so they can dox me. Please do it, because I got y'all's too. Please try it. Just try it. Please try it. And so I'm seeing, I see them leave. And so I'm smart. So I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. I switch lanes, and then they switch lanes to avoid me. I think they got that out. I was like, I see y'all behind me, right? And I switched lanes and I made a turn because I'm not going to go home directly because I don't want them to follow me. So I switched and whatever. So, but I wanted to see what they would do. And I wanted to see like what they were really rearing up to do. They didn't do anything. They finally kind of like stopped following me, and I went home zigzaggy, right? I took the extra long way home and all that, and I kept looking in my rearview mirrors, and I made sure when I got home I was vigilant where I parked and all that other stuff. But they don't tell you that. They just says that full water bottles were thrown. They don't capture it, but they are antagonizing people. This is what they do. This is how bored they are. They go out and they try to start fights with black people in downtown Charleston. So they know what they're doing, right? So mind you, all right, I see you, Meek, in the chat. I see y'all here, right? Mind you, so they posted this on the day where they were saying, hey, we were attacked again. I guess I don't know if they call them what flipping me giving them the bird is an attack. Okay, laughing at you because you have a clown car is whatever, right? All right, so they went on and try to paint themselves as martyrs, right? Then last night, I'm gonna exit out of this. Last night, Erica Coakley sent me this, and they've been on this for a long time. Erica Coakley sent me this. All right, I wish I could make it. Here we go. Oh, I'm acting like I can't make it bigger. My bad. All right, so Erica Coakley sent me this. So now they're still targeting her. So this was relatively recent. They bringing up old dirt. It says, don't forget Erica Coakley is an elected official. The Charleston School District encourage, I don't even know what this, as an elected official of the Charleston County School District, encouraged violence and destruction against an Army serviceman's home and wife and children in Columbia, South Carolina, after the man had already been arrested for simple assault due to his pushing off, I guess, an African-American man off of his property who had, okay, I don't know what this means then. If this is African-American man off his property who happened to be African-American, looks like y'all need to go to CCSD and ask for some adult education, because I can't read this. Does CCSD condone violence against F children? Now, I'm one for typos and stuff and misreading, so I can't say much. But basically, they're referencing this old this post where they screenshot it. It wasn't 4 hours ago. They screenshot a post from Erica where she was talking about the protests that popped up in Columbia. Shout out Jazz Johnson. Shout out to the organizers in Columbia, where everyone shared this meme. I shared this meme. Everybody shared this meme. If come outside, we're not going to jump you as a person. Like, everyone shared that meme, right? So they're continuously targeting Erica here, right? Right? So they just posted this, right? And I just want to make it abundantly clear. There's other things that they've been posting. Erica sent me this as well, right? So if you're in Charleston County School District, it's just as important to remove people like Erica Coakley as it is spearmen. So they're trying to conflate. They're trying to make Erica Coakley, trying to make her out to be, I don't know. They're trying to out Spearman and they're trying to oust her. And so they included pictures again. I don't know why they keep showing her with babies, and be careful with these kids. Y'all already been sued once, right? And so she's in this sign, she's calling out racism. Erica's an activist. Erica's on the battery. Erica's on the school board. Erica ran a great campaign, got elected. So this is, Corey All In. That's real interesting. Corey All In. Him and his partner, Tyler, are all in, y'all. All right, so, and this is another post they posted. So I don't know who Fred West is, but Erica Coakley is booked, and I would love several admins and moderators. This group is not mean to be political, but care for our kids. I don't understand that. but they're talking about her, actively talking about her. Y'all can help me with that. I don't even know, right? I don't even know what that is. But I wanted to just remind y'all. I wanted to just to let you know. So this group that's out here acting like victims, right? Acting like victims out here antagonizing people, and I want to also make it clear. Look who they're antagonizing. It's black people. They're not attacking anybody else on that school board. Right? They're not attacked. Well, they probably are, but they have a specific interest in Erica Coakley, right? So I'm gonna close that out. And I want to read, before we get into this PBS NewsHour that outlines the dangers that black women in office are facing, I want to read this piece a little bit from the Charleston syllabus. Again, y'all, the Charleston syllabus to me is what you need to be reading if you want to understand race in America, if you want to understand how we got a Dylan Roof, all right, how he's one of many, because he is not a lone wolf, right? I invite you to go and get you a copy of the Charleston syllabus. And in the introduction, so the introduction goes back in time to January 17th, 2015. But at the bottom, let me see if I can read this without, reading the janky. Okay. Let me see this. Explaining his murderous actions and desire to start a race war, Roof wrote. Now I want to stop right there. His desire to start a race war. If you have been an organizer on the Battery since the Trump time until now, you've heard at one point or another, you've heard either the Neo-Confederates, members of the Lightfoot Militia, or any other hate group affiliated person out there who are sympathetic to these lost causers, right? You've heard someone mention race war or civil war, okay? Okay, if you've been an organizer, is no way you could not hear that. They have called for a race war as recently as, I've heard it as recent as 2020, the summer of 2020. They've called for a race war. So I'm gonna read that again from the syllabus. Explaining his murderous actions and desires to start a race war, Dylan Roof wrote the following in his manifesto. I have no choice. I am not in the position to, alone, go into the ghetto and fight. I chose Charleston because it's the most historic city in my state and at one time had the highest ratio of black to whites in the country. We have no skinheads, no real KKK, no one doing anything but talking on the internet. Well, someone has to have the bravery to take it to the real world, and I guess that has to be me. I want to go back to that one line. I alone cannot go into the ghetto and fight. Because you're probably like, well, Mika, why are you bringing up all this stuff? Like, what this got to do with? What this got to do with? These are violent and dangerous men who are also cowards. They choose soft targets. They choose children, Tyler Bessinger. They choose children. They choose women. They choose tourist districts. They ain't running up in North Charleston. Like, I remember I asked that question, and it might sound like a gruesome question to ask. I asked this on IG Live one day. I'm like, I wonder why Dylan Roof didn't if Dylan Roof wanted to kill a bunch of black people, if I was a white supremacist, I wanted to kill a bunch of black people. I want to just commit a mass shooting. And I know this is very, very dangerous and triggering discussion. I know this sounds wild coming from me, but hear me out. I'm like, if you wanted to target black people for a mass shooting, why wouldn't you go to a predominantly black area? Why wouldn't you go to someplace in Dorchester County? Why wouldn't you go to North Charleston? That's what I thought that, right? And then when you read the manifesto, you understand these are cowards. These are cowards. They not looking for that smoke in North Charleston. They're not looking for that smoke. And now I'm not even talking about being met with violence. They be met with collective action. They be met with the same type of reaction that Septima Clark and others who lived through the Red Summer of 1919, when those white Navy soldiers, those sailors, came to shore and started killing black people. And what did the black people do? Men and men and boys, not men and boys, but a bunch of men I'm sure there was some women in there too, took up anything they could get, bottles, axes, whatever guns they had, whatever they had, they took to the streets to protect their black family, much like the images you see around the Tulsa massacre, how black people tried to defend themselves at home. That's what happened here, right? Because those soldiers went into black neighborhoods and they were met with resistance. They end up killing almost 20 black people. Right. And so I'm not saying that Dylann Roof or white supremacists would have necessarily been met with, like, I'm not talking about gangs or nothing like that. I'm talking about they would have been met with a lot of black people. They would have been met with a lot of opposition that looks a lot like what happened in Columbia. That's why Corey and them ain't going to Columbia pulling this nonsense. That's why Corey and them ain't spending no time, on nobody's Reynolds Avenue, ain't spending no time on, over there or somewhere off of Leeds or something. They know where to go. They're dangerous, they're violent, but they're cowards looking for soft targets. And they, in their head, have gotten into their head that black women are soft targets. And so we have to remove that bullseye. We have to protect these women. We have to protect these communities that they are actively seeking out, because like Dylann Roof, they not equipped. They not equipped to really take it to people that they know they can get that smoke from. They think they are cowards. That's why we have to understand, like, you think they didn't read that? You think that these current hate groups, the Proud Boys that I just showed you, you think that they haven't studied Dylann Roof? They haven't studied the Mother Emanuel massacre? You think they haven't studied that? And part of the strategy, you could argue, is that turn people like Erica, like me, turn us into violent, vicious, scary people, right? Turn us into some sort of monster, and then that way you can justify our fall. You can justify if we meet some sort of crazy outcome, because we probably deserved it. So that's what they're going to spend time demonizing Erica. So if she does meet some sort of unfortunate circumstance, they can, like, oh, well, she did call for. No, she didn't. She a regular degular mom, a mother of a special needs child on the damn school board. She ain't no different from anybody else in this shit. You got more dark money on that school board that you need to concern yourself with. You got more dark money and other political interests with those candidates, those dark money candidates, Coalition for Kids candidates. You need to be concerned with what's behind that money. But you bothering this black woman who's doing her job, who cares about her community, who comes out and stands up very, 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 very bravely against hate time and time again. You're going to keep attacking this woman because you're a punk. And I'm going to say that to you're a punk. You're all punk cowards. Y'all target black kids and you target women. You a punk. You're a big punk. And all those black men who carry y'all water, y'all are punks too. Y'all are punks too. But let me let you know this. We come from Harriet Tubman stock. We come from Ida B. Wells stock. We come from Bernice Robinson stock. We come from Mamie Garvin Fields stock. We come from Mary Just stock. Okay? We ain't going nowhere. We ain't punks. We ain't scared. We done seen y'all come time and time again, no matter how much you remix it, rebrand it, all of that. We done seen this before. So you don't like the politics of somebody on the school board. Okay, run for school board and take her seat. You don't like her politics? Fine, be vocal on Facebook. But to call her names and to continuously target her and mischaracterize what she posts on social media is violent. To continue to post pictures of her, to try to report her to the Board of Elections when she was running for office and didn't work. You keep aiming at Erica. She keep winning. I don't even know what you're doing. You a coward. Tyler Bessinger is a coward. You only affiliate yourself with cowards. You only tough when you in a crowd full of Proud Boys and insurrectionists. You only tough when you with your gang. You ain't tough when I was by myself in my car. I was with all the smoke. Please come at me. I was by myself. Y'all had that clown car filled with at least 3 people I saw? Because, you tinted the windows on that Kia Soul. I was by myself. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to confront a white supremacist when I see one. I was by myself. I was by myself when I would confront one in Marion Square. I'd be by myself when I confronted them on Folly Beach. I ain't no punk. But y'all are punks because y'all keep targeting children and you keep targeting women. You a whole punk. You just like Dylan Roof. You a punk. You a softy. You would never bring this. And that's what makes it so bad to see like Shaquem sympathetic to that side, to the MAGA. Because like, wouldn't it be something that big black dude use his size and use his power and influence to actually protect black women? Wouldn't that be great? Not saying that he needs to be anyone's bodyguard, but wouldn't it be great if he used some of that influence, if he used some of it to actually protect black women? Instead of sympathizing with people who giving you the bag here and there, a couple of bags from Al Cannon and a couple of bags from MAGA factions. If the black men would support, I'm talking about these conservatives, I'm not talking about all black men, so don't even come at me. If these black men would actually support and protect Erica, imagine how much how much less posts like this they would have. Or let's say you want to still be gang with them. What would it look like for you to like, yo, Corey, Erica's off limits. You can MAGA, you can do whatever. Erica's off limits. What would it look like if those MAGA men, those black MAGA men, say, you know what, Erica's off limits. We ain't doing that. That ain't this. Let's aim higher. Or something like that. I know that sounds crazy, but I would imagine there has to be some kind of, like, you are still black. You are still a black man. I gotta be some loyalty there. I know you want the bag, but what would it look like if you stood up for black women instead of feeding them the information? I'm not saying Shaquem did it directly. I'm saying I'm hearing some things. I heard some things through the grapevine that there might have been some federation to white groups from black MAGA. I don't know for sure. I don't know. That's why I had to unfollow and block Lewis and all of them, because you ain't gonna be surveilling my page, calling me, getting intel from me, and then giving it to Corey. You crazy? Them games done stopped. I done blocked everything. By all of that, there's a whole black outpost for the GOP party. Shout out to AJ for that one. Yeah, but what would it look like if a black man actually say, you know what? Nah. I went off. I know I didn't even read the chat. I'm sorry. I didn't read the chat either way. But just it's sad. That's why you got to stop giving terrorists platforms. Rajon, that's why I'm like, seriously, let's stop giving, Rajon, you don't give terrorists platforms. But Channel 2's news, like, if you interview Tyler one more time, just because he'll sit up there and he'll use the King's English, we're supposed to think that he's not a threat. Nah. I'm gonna read the chat, but I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play the beginning of this video. It's 9 minutes long. We're not gonna play the whole thing, but let me play this.
2021 has seen black women reach new heights in the halls of U.S. government, from Kamala Harris as vice president to a record-setting number of black women in Congress and in mayor's offices. While many celebrate the increase in representation, many of these elected leaders also, it turns out, face harassment and threats. Amna Nawaz has their story as part of our Race Matters series.
That's right, Judy. Many of these politicians have told the NewsHour their stories of fear and concern while trying to do their jobs. Candace Norwood is the digital politics reporter who led the reporting effort for NewsHour, and she joins me now. Candace, welcome to you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Amna. Thanks.
So we want to unpack a little bit more about some of this remarkable reporting you've spent months pulling together. But first, let's just take a quick listen to some of the women you spoke to.
I remember at the beginning of the 116th Congress when we were just spotlighting and highlighting the beautiful diversity of this incoming Congress. But then on every caucus call, we had members who were getting death threats on a daily basis.
Early on, when we were getting the list of credible threats coming in for members of Congress, they were centered around members of color. And there are only 25 Black women that serve in the United States Congress. So it's not like I can blend in with my colleagues because there's not that many of us.
I am always thinking, wow, okay, if somebody came in to the Capitol building right now and they wanted to shoot all the Black people here, what's my plan? How do I escape? How do I get out of here?
One of the turning points for me and my campaign was during the George Floyd protests, when someone, we still don't know who, drove by one of the Democratic Party offices in my district where my sign was in the window. There were Black Lives Matter signs in the window.
I want to pause it right here as we're hearing these harrowing tales of what these Black women in elected office have faced. I want y'all to understand that everything you're seeing at the national level, at the federal level, and you'll see a trickle down, right? You'll see similarities in some rhetoric, especially a lot with this fight with the school board and the anti-maskers that showed up at the rallies, that showed up at school board meetings with literal bags over their heads. You'll hear consistent language, and you'll see mimicry. So what's going on at the national level? We're seeing it here, right? And so as we have Mia McLeod and her gubernatorial bid, as we have Tamika Isaac Devine running to be the first Black woman mayor of Columbia, you've got Crystal Matthews running against Tim Scott, another African-American woman whose name escapes me at this moment, who's also running against Tim Scott, right? You've got all these Black women launching these campaigns, and Crystal's already an elected official, right? So be very aware that there will be an attack on these elected officials, especially if they've got a D next to their names. I'm almost positive that they will face similar opposition that is white supremacy, it's nothing but racial animus and white supremacy and terror. And that's why what we're seeing nationally, you have to draw that line between what we're seeing in the rhetoric and the rhetoric we're seeing in these Facebook groups, and that what they're posting and these constant attacks on Black women elected officials. We've got to see the similarities. We got to stop acting like this is lone wolf. These are isolated incidences that occur in a vacuum. They are not. They are not. These people are in community with each other. That a big caravan that the FBI found out about left South Carolina. It's on the front page of today's Post and Courier. Lexington man. Okay, I got to get to that clip. Threatening a prosecutor in Florida. Right? Like these groups are talking and trying to find ways to gain prominence and to start a race war. And they are choosing so-called soft targets. And they are choosing to victimize Black women. I want us to be very clear on that. This is not, you saw it with Maxine Waters and calling her dumb. Then you saw Nancy Mace. Last week? Try to say that Kamala Harris is dumb. She took her ass on Fox News and tried to fix her little daffy ass, fix her lips to suggest that Kamala Harris lacks some sort of intellectual capacity. This is not unintentional. We know Nancy Mace loves to target a woman of color. We know that, right?
And someone shot bullet holes.
So, Candace, it is incredibly disturbing to hear those fears and concerns from those 4 women. You spoke to a number of women, though, right? How common
I see you, Samuel. I'm gonna text you back, Sam.
I and my reporting partners, Chloe Jones and Liz Balaji, spoke with 18 women in politics, Black women in politics at all levels of government, and 17 of them recounted similar experiences.
I'm gonna play a little bit more of this.
Abuse and physical threats. Kia Morris is a former Vermont legislator who suffered years of harassment and finally resigned in 2018. At the time, she and her husband lived in his childhood home and decided to move for safety concerns to a different city. But
Thank you, Kate.
In that
Thank
new
you,
city, in that
Kayla.
new home, their now 10-year-old son built a panic room type space, remembering kind of the experiences they had back in their previous city. And it's not just physical threats, it's also verbal abuse. And these women recounted experiencing a daily barrage of these verbal attacks. Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby recounted an experience listening to a voicemail that was sent to her that was laced with expletives and racial slurs.
Listen to this.
And we actually have a clip that we're going to play now, and a warning to our viewers, it does contain strong language.
If we'd known you all were going to be this much trouble, we would have picked our own cotton.
And I should also note that
Wow.
though we spoke with 18 women, we did receive some hesitation. And
I'm gonna stop that there. So I invite you to go to PBS NewsHour. It was part of the larger 1 hour broadcast, but they have the clip, the 9-minute clip. They have it by itself, so you can just go to PBS NewsHour on YouTube or wherever you watch PBS NewsHour. But I want to underscore again the reason why I showed this. You know what? Let me see if I can before I dip. Go back to that Lexington man story because I want to bring it back local because that's the thing they try to tell you, lone wolf, it don't happen, yada yada yada. Yeah, we're gonna play this 30-second clip from WLTX out of Columbia, South Carolina. But it's very important. It's extremely important for you to understand that whatever you see on a federal level, on a national level, best believe that there's a level of mimicry and there are talking points. There's a consistent or concerted. There's a strategy that's being employed, and they've made it a point to target Black women and Black women who are elected officials. And I need for us to be vigilant about this. And I need for white folks, when you see it, call it out. Call it out, call it out, call it out. Erica is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of swatting away a lot of these attacks. It can't be on Black women to continuously, seeing Kayla in the chat and Facebook reminds me of yesterday's conversation and what I tweeted after the live stream. It cannot be the responsibility of Black women to continuously highlight these incidences. We have to have the help of white people who are in community with these people. Maybe it's just through family relationships. Maybe it's through proximity, work, whatever it is. But you all have access to some of this rhetoric and you see it for what it is. Start writing about it like how it is. Like, start understanding that. Start studying what terror is. Start reading things penned by Black people. Don't read some flowery, romanticized version from Jennifer Berry Hawes. Don't read about it like that. Read how we got here. Understand the history of America. This is an anthology, y'all. This ain't a novel. This ain't a study. It's an anthology that includes a lot of messaging, poems, hymns, all that give you insight as to how we got here. It says the subtitle of the syllabus is Readings on Race, Racism, and Racial Violence. Understand that this is who we are in America. We are a racially divided country. This is who we are. And I think if more members of the press, more people with public platforms would study Black people studying hate, and then I think if you or people of color, indigenous folks, listen to people other than the mainstream media voices or mainstream news media that has a newsroom that doesn't reflect the world, and a newsroom that doesn't have an editor of color or a Black editor in place to help make some of these decisions, right? We have to start digging into the rich scholarship that exists, so when you see white supremacy, you stop poo-pooing it off. Jessica, you said it earlier in the chat. Take these people seriously. Yeah, half-wit. Yeah, I call them half-wit. Yeah, it's a clown. The Kia Soul looks like a clown car, right? It's designed to antagonize folks and outfitted with a loud sound system. But they are violent. Like I said, when enough of these brain cells get in one room, they are capable of committing acts of violence. And understand representational violence, which is it doesn't have to hit you in the face. It doesn't have to result in a bullet. It doesn't have to result in someone being physically assaulted. Continuously targeting Erica Coakley, a mom, an elected official, a duly elected official on the school board, right? Continuously to attack her online and to invite people to continue to attack her online is violence. And we have to start documenting it as such and understanding how so much so much of this is Dylann Roof inspired, how so much of this sounds like what was included in Dylann Roof's manifesto. You feel me? They not looking to go to the hood. They not looking to pull up on, they not looking to pull up on Royal. They not looking to pull up on no real, like, they not looking to pull up on where there's big crowds of Black people. They're looking for soft targets, and they've made Black women their soft target. But I want to get into this story real quick before I dip. It's about
a federal judge sentencing a Lexington County man to more than 2 years in prison today.
I don't have to say
for
nothing.
Threatening a former prosecutor. Jimmy Giancos got 28 months in prison for making threats to a Florida prosecutor who had been critical of the far-right wing group, the Proud Boys.
Wow.
Back when he was arrested in February, a search of his home also showed items that were taken from the nation's capital during the riot of January 6. Following his 28 months prison sentence, he will be on supervised release for 3 years.
Wow. Wow. Courtney and Twitch, you said you're so worried about Senator Mia McLeod. I am too. She gets this kind of hate mail all the time. Wow. Wow. And earlier, Courtney, you said in the chat, every day you learn about a new J6 person, so a new January 6th insurrectionist from South Carolina. Every day. Shout out to y'all in the chat. I'm sorry I didn't engage with the chat more vigorously. Kayla, you did say on Facebook, this is absolutely intentional. It's not a coincidence. We got to exactly. Congruence is not a coincidence. The congruence is not a coincidence. Cannot say it enough. Let me see what Jasmine said. Let me see what Jasmine you asked. Hold up. He's in a Kia Soul. That's a hamster car. It's literally a hamster car. I'm sorry I caught that late. It literally is. I remember that commercial. Those commercials. That's exactly what they look like, all up in there too. Yeah, making sure their flags were nice and pretty. Hate speech. Yeah. So I'm gonna read some of this chat later, but I'm glad that y'all. I will definitely get back to reading the chat a little bit more. But yeah, it's shout out to the new YouTube subscriber. Thank you. But I'm gonna end it there. I just wanted to. I wanted to make sure that we understand and call a thing a thing. We said this yesterday. White people who are watching, well-intentioned white people, whatever that means, need to activate. When you see it, call it out. When you see it, do things. And you could protect, like, look, I ain't asking you to go toe-to-toe with a white supremacist, because there is an element of violence that I don't want anyone to confront, right? I'm just a cockamamie chick with a cherry limeade who don't mind rolling up and giving them the finger. I'm built a little different. I ain't advise nobody to do what I did, because I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, yo, these dudes is terrorists, but I'm gonna flip them off. I'm gonna laugh at them. The Kia Soul is what got me. The Kia Soul part is what got me. I'm like, oh my God, how lame can you get with all this crap around it? How lame. Yeah, but turn down the wrong street in Oak Forest and see what happens with that bullshit. But anyway, I wanted to just really end on a serious note. Understand that there are no lone wolves. Thank you. There are no lone wolves. You too can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just look for Tamika Gadsden. That's it. Nothing fancy. But there are no lone wolves. There is a connection. They're looking for soft targets. That's why they go downtown. That's why they keep targeting downtown. They keep targeting Black women. That's their best target. They target children often. And I'm glad. See, now that they're blurring out children's faces, now see they with that attack photo, they try to act like it were men. Tyler had to blur it out because Tyler already got in trouble by featuring children in his propaganda and his white supremacist propaganda. So they're learning to blur out children's faces, but we need them to start exercising as much caution as possible around trying to vilify and to visit violence upon Black women, especially Black women who they just don't agree with politically. That's it. You have a political disagreement, but you're trying to have violence. You're trying to have Erica meet with some sort of violent outcome, and that's unacceptable. I'm gonna say it again. There are no lone wolves. There are no isolated white nationalist incidences. Right? This is very real. This is not a drill. It's not a drill. Charleston has never reckoned with its past, and because they refuse to reckon with it and treat it like how Germany treats what happened, during the Holocaust, and until we start getting right and calling a thing, shout out, thank you, Kayla. until a little zombie run across my face. Until they call a thing, until we identify it as what it is, we'll always be haunted by these ghosts. And that's it. All right, I'm stop being repetitive. Thank you so much for your support, Erica. Thank you. Good morning. I did a whole show on you, Erica. if you're just jumping in, go back and watch it if you can. Cherry limeade gang. Don't even, y'all. I've been eating like a garbage disposal. Oh, I've been eating like trash. I gotta chill with the cherry limeades. But anyway, I'm just gonna get lipo. I'm joking. I'm not joking. All right, y'all, take care. Take care. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 7:30. Thanks for rocking with me. Bye.